The Israelites served the Egyptians for more than 400 years without collecting wages or salary. But the night when God will bring them out, they were instructed to borrow from the Egyptians. They borrowed their gold, their silver, and other valuables. They wrecked the economy of the land of Egypt. Now, I now begin to wonder. The Lord told them to borrow. Is that really borrowing? Because if you borrow something, you should plan to return it. Because these people did not return those things they took from them. So is that really borrowing? It is like going to a person to say, give me all your gold and don't expect me to return it again. Someone had that and still went ahead to give them all out because God was involved. So they went to the Egyptians and said, give me all the money in your account and don't expect me to return it again. And they gave them out because God was ready to restore to them all that they have lost. In those days, how to save money is to, transform them into gold. Basically, gold and silver in those days were like the currencies that they use. So if you have gold and you have kept it, of course you have money in the bank. So what they did was not borrowing, because borrowing involves, begging in most cases, and then you have to promise that you return it. What they did was actually prophetic. It was a display of God's authority. God wanted to restore all they had lost, so he made their voice like his own voice. So when they went to the people and spoke to them, they could not resist their voice because God had made their voice to look like his own voice. Remember, there was a time in the ministry of Moses where God spoke to Moses and said, I will make you a god to Pharaoh. I will make you a god to Pharaoh. Now, at the point of leaving Egypt, that statement became general. Before they left Egypt, it was only Moses that God made a god to Pharaoh. But at the point of leaving Egypt, so that all of them can leave, God made all the Israelites a god to the Egyptians. That was why when they went to them to borrow things, none of them could resist, because God had made all of them a god to the Egyptians. So it was at the point of leaving Egypt that the reality of Moses, the possibility that was open to Moses alone, now became the reality of every member of the Israelites. Are you there? Every member of Israel. Are you there? So the Israelites now carried that reality. So they went to different families and ordered for their things, their valuables, and they gave it without questioning them. When a man of divine authority speaks to you, your wisdom will melt, and even your stubbornness will be too small to resist him. That's the truth. It's not like the Egyptians are not stubborn, but the Israelites, they were speaking from a height that even the Egyptians could not resist. May God help us. May God make us a God, yes, to the enemies of the gospel. Many of us want to preach the gospel everywhere, but God must make you a God first to those enemies. Otherwise, they will stop you. Yes, when you become a God to them, you will stop them. But when they become a God to you, they will stop you. May you become a God in the name of Jesus.